Hello and welcome to Draw Phase, the podcast where we make content about our content that we make. I'm Seth. It's a pleasure. Some of you guys might know me as Sly from Card Heroes. Some of you guys might know me
Not at all.
somewhere else. Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
Not at all.
It's a pleasure. This is just a podcast where we make content about the content that we make. So just a spot for TCG players to make art and make cool stuff. This is my contemporary and companion in life, Dylan.
Hello, everybody. You don't know me at all. Nobody knows me at all.
But you will.
But you will.
He's clutch.
He's
clutch.
That's the beauty of this. It's an opportunity for me to get to know you. If you're familiar with Seth's previous work of Card Heroes, then
I'm sorry. First of all,
we apologize.
First of all, we're sorry.
But I'm the one currently in charge of making sure that you see more of it.
Yes, the good stuff, the sexy stuff.
But yeah, I'm a digital artist, and I help Seth with all of his projects.
It's a vibe. Dylan is a king of what they do. They are one of the best artists I've ever met. Full stop. Just in general, just the best artist. I don't have to meet you for you to be a good artist, in my opinion, but Dylan definitely is one. I think that their work shines for themselves, so we'll put a little bit on screen just so that way you guys can check out some of their amazing stuff.
Oh.
They have a commission website that you can check out. Link in the description below.
Oh.
So please do support this artist. Good boy.
I'd be happy to hear from you.
We love it.
I like to take any commissions, no matter how small. I just enjoy helping people make art.
Yes, for money. Because
for money,
respect,
but I'll work with you.
Yeah. Like, let's listen.
I'd rather you pay your local artist and use AI.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm going to avoid thinking about AI art as much as I can.
Which is, we had shot this before once, and I respect Dylan's opinions on it entirely.
But
I was like, this is kind of a rough start.
I'm just gonna avoid talking about it altogether. I'm like, unless you want to hear about it. If you want to hear about it,
yeah, please. Let us know in the comments below of this video what you guys want to check out. If you have any questions, I'm going to take this one from another podcast. Start your question in the comments with the word question. That way I can find it when doing the Control F. Control F, baby. Control F, baby.
Control F in the chat.
Control. So, just for context of what this podcast is about, other than you watching us make things, we're both trading card game fanatics. We both love the idea of concept art. We love the idea of creating things for projects that you care about, and then just seeing the creative process. Dylan, you want to take it away?
Oh yeah, for example, what I'm currently working on is some concept art for Card Heroes that drew up a while back, but I'm finally getting around to giving it some attention that it deserves. Yeah, we love art. We love card games. I want to share some of that with you. Some of the process.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe for sure. So, I mean, if you guys have anything that you guys want to see from us, just let us know. What you'll be seeing in Draw Phase a lot of the time is going to be working on YouTube thumbnails on my part for videos that I have down the pipeline, concept art for Dylan, which may or may not be related to Card Heroes, commission work, and currently for me is video editing as well. So I'm editing the timeline for the first episode of Card Heroes Crimson, which is going to be the reboot series. So you'll be seeing some stuff in the background. I won't have any audio of the series play out just because I want to keep some stuff secret for now. So if you guys ever want to sneak peek and just kind of hang out with us, eventually we plan on possibly doing this live, but right now we are going to do them pre-recorded just so that way we can polish anything that we need to hide anything. On a quick aside, we are filming this on day 2 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Hello Kitty McDonald's promotion. So I myself have gotten...
What? I didn't even know that was...
Oh, yeah!
What?
Oh, we have a talking point!
I didn't even know that was a thing.
God. I'm surprised. This seems like right up your alley.
Yeah, I haven't been to McDonald's in a minute, so.
It's so cool. Like, it's the most capitalist thing ever. But it's a McDonald's Hello Kitty / Yu-Gi-Oh promotion. Do you see what I'm showing?
Yo, what the
Yeah!
Oh, it's not even... They're not even separate. It's not you.
No, it's the same. Look at this. It's Dark Magician Girl as like a Sanrio character.
I know someone who is in desperate need of this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No,
I
dude.
didn't even know that was a thing at all.
They're so cool. They're so cool.
Hold
and then we have Slifer, Obelisk, and Ra, which is insane to me because they actually
Choco Cat, Winged Dragon of Ra. I need that.
Choco Cat, Winged Dragon of Ra, and Kuromi, Slifer the Sky Dragon. I don't know this little tuxedo penguin guy, but Obelisk the Tormentor.
Tuxedo Sam.
It is Tuxedo. You know Tuxedo Sam?
Oh yeah, I'm well versed.
Yo, the two that I already have because my sister wanted to get this.
Cinnamon Roll Blue Eyes.
Yeah, I have the Cinema Roll
course.
Blue Eyes
Everybody
and
loves
the Hello
Cinnamon
Kitty
Roll,
Dark
and
Magician.
everybody loves
Yeah,
Blue
everyone.
Eyes.
Listen, we love that dog. Cinema Roll and Hello Kitty. Exodia with the
Jesus.
Pom Pom Purin.
Good lord, these are so cool.
Yes, the Time Wizard, the Dark Magician Girl, which is, I believe, yeah, My Melody.
I'm
And
gonna
then
have to go pick some of these up.
the Karipi? Oh, Karopi, dude. What is wrong with me? I'm dyslexic. The Karopi and Karibo combo is pretty classic. Fun fact for those collectors in the States, we don't have one of them. There was I don't know what that angry penguin is called, but there's like, or like a bird. It's an angry bird. Yeah.
It's angry.
The little black bird. That's angry. Bird. So Angry Sam was mixed with Red Eyes Black Dragon.
Oh,
and
I'm sorry. We didn't.
other...
Of course, we didn't get Red Eyes in the state. No, Red Eyes gets no love.
We get no Joey love. We get zero Joey Wheeler love. I accidentally got apple slices.
Red Eyes support.
Even the promotional apple slices have them on it. It's so cute.
Hey, speaking of support, where are my Gen X players at?
Yo!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Where,
yeah, honestly,
where are my top 8 Gen X placements, baby? Let's go.
Please, me and Dylan go way hard with the dual terminal sets from back in the day. By the way, this is a full card game community. Like, if you don't know what we're talking about, I'm so sorry. Shuffle a deck up or something, please.
Let's go. Like,
yeah, Gen X is so cool, man. And like, they just spam out so many cards right now.
I haven't actually played with them.
So,
like,
no. Listen, you don't need to play with them to enjoy them. You can be a total Gen X enjoyer.
I do. I always Gen X controller is cute as heck. I was like,
controller's so cute. His
I
what
like
is
the
it?
synchros too. Like they're all cool. I actually have a bunch of the synchros. I don't have like anything else though.
That's fair. The link that they just got, which is, do you know the lore about Gen X controller?
Not really.
Because like they were part of the dual terminal set, and
yeah,
dual terminal cards always have
lore.
So, Gen X controller is like a semi-sentient machine, and then there's like a backup Gen X controller. I think it's just called our Gen X controller, and it's like his girlfriend or something. And then I think they're both dying, and so she, I believe, uses her spare part to keep him alive. Super sad. I love Gen X lore.
I was sadder than I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kuromi!
Where's my Hello Kitty's Gen X controller?
Yeah, please, come on. I need a Pom Pom Purin to like rip out its stuffing to keep Hello Kitty alive, please. I think it's a great play. I was gonna say, okay, so as far as like the card games that we play, it's gonna be, for me, it's Digimon, the TCG. I dabble with Pokemon. Like, the rotating format's a little frustrating for me. I don't like rotating formats. I have a commander deck thanks to Dylan, of all people. Dylan is clutch. I love that commander deck with my whole heart. And Yu-Gi-Oh, of course.
I made it out of spare parts. It's a Gen X controller itself, but
you gave me a lot of good spare parts, though. I mean, like, what was the card that you gave me that was like $30 that looks like the marker from Dead Space?
Oh, the Ozolith. I keep forgetting.
Ozolith.
That's okay.
Yeah, but you said you pulled 4, right? Back in the day?
I saw back in the day they were doing a crossover, which is a lot of what Magic does now, is crossovers.
Yeah, it's like, it's so common now. It's really crazy to think.
This was like the first, or one of the first ones. Like, I like the crossovers personally, but there's a lot of the Magic community that's not super into it, like, which is fair. They don't like.
I get that, but I also think that, like, just a real quick aside, I think that making a whole nother card game for an IP is really, like, not great. So I'm glad that they're licensing out their IPs into an existing card game.
I like it. I'm a sucker for a good crossover. I'm a Smash player, so like,
right.
I love a good crossover. Like, but one of the first ones they were doing was with the set Ikoria, and they were doing Godzilla cards. I'm a big fan. Love Godzilla.
Yeah.
And I wanted to collect all of them in Japanese and foil. which I have since done. But at the time, I bought a collector's box of Ikoria and pulled like one good one. And I was like, cool. That really sucked. So I got a sharp stick in the eye, but I also got 4 Ozoliths, so that was okay.
That's better than what I got. I mean, I don't buy product, and I've never bought Magic product. The set that had the Gen X stuff, Terminus Revenge, which is like all of the dual terminal stuff that is recently gotten retrains. I spent 70 on that, and I think the most expensive thing I pulled was like a 40-cent card.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, I mean, I learned back in middle school when Dual Terminal came out, like, you don't buy anything that says Terminal on it because like all of those sets suck for value. Like they're cool sets. They're always cool sets with a lot of cool stuff, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
But like the value is never there.
No, the naming convention's perfect because my wallet is dying after that.
Yeah. Is contracted a terminal illness of loss of money.
Just so broke, bro.
Those are really rough sets to get your money's worth. Not that you should buy product.
No.
Singles.
You shouldn't buy anything.
No, you shouldn't buy anything.
Simply duel for your rarest card and take your opponents. Easy.
Yeah. Ante up your red eyes support because it's
your
never getting support. Ante up all your red eyes. Like
it's the play.
I tell you, I've been watching classic Yu-Gi-Oh with my girlfriend. Like, and it's so fun to watch it with someone who's never seen it.
Specifically, like the Duelist Kingdom arc, right?
That's where we're at currently. It's just so much fun to see someone who's never watched, because like pretty much all of my friends have watched Yu-Gi-Oh at some point.
I very much feel like this is the modern equivalent to what was. You've never seen the Star Wars films before, like back in the day.
Yeah, like definitely a similar vibe.
Well, you were that friend too. Like I had another friend, but you were the friend that never had seen Dragon Ball Z specifically, because you ask someone if they watched Dragon Ball, they're like, "Yeah, I know Z and GT," and you go, "No, I've seen Dragon."
Yeah,
Dragon
I was
Ball's
never the biggest fan of Dragon Ball, to be honest. Growing up, like,
yeah,
I respect it a lot more now than I did then. Like, a lot more of like
because you don't have to wait a week every episode for a 300+ episode show.
Yeah, there's no way I could have followed that as a kid. Like, I would have been like, and I'm lost. I was like, see one episode, 1 week, I was like, I got it. Next episode, next week, I'm like, I in fact have no idea what's going on.
I think that's kind of the problem with Dragon Ball is like, well, because like even when you watch it as a kid, like, because I grew up on it, like I was like locked in. But when you watch it as a kid, the first episode of Dragon Ball Z, which by the way, classic Dragon Ball, like Baby Goku, classic Dragon Ball was dubbed in English by the same studio that did Power Rangers, but that's not Funimation. That was Saban, and so they changed all the characters' names. Like Goku's name was Zero, and like just a bunch of weird stuff. And all this to say, Dragon Ball Z's first episode has you meeting characters you've never met before. Like Goku shows up, he's like, "Hi, I'm Goku. I have a kid." And then Raditz shows up, and then Piccolo shows up, and you're like, wait, what's going on? Who are these people? It's very much like a who's who, and you're just like, oh, I guess I'll have to catch the first episode when I'm older, and it's a rerun. And then you realize that is the first episode, and you're just like, oh, I guess this is my truth now.
I've come around to Dragon Ball because it took some convincing. I feel like I was just like, I'm not into this. This is so weird. Now I can finally like get hyped. It's fun to like be involved now. Like, I understand everything now. You're
aware of your surroundings, and just when you thought you figured it all out, God Key, to do their thing.
Okay. I was like, wait a second. Don't try to trick me.
Dylan and I, with a roommate back in college, or like post college, like the year after we had all graduated, but we watched Super as it was appearing. So we watched the English dub, and then we started watching the Japanese dub because like it was just so far behind. Yeah, I remember we watched that, and we watched My Hero, which I grab my McDonald's box right now. Big shout out to Deku.
Wait, what now?
Oh man, I gotta stop talking.
I was like, we got another crossover?
Something like that. But have you been keeping up with My Hero?
Not really. Not really since we stopped watching it back then. Like a little bit. But I don't think I've seen past season 3, so I'm pretty behind. What season?
It's been a while. I think that they're on the last one in the anime, but they finished the manga as of like 2 weeks ago. Just for those who are watching the stream, you're gonna be seeing me editing stuff for Card Heroes. I think it's a lot of out of context stuff, like there's no audio or anything. So you'll see my character along with another actor. So you can kind of tune in. There's no spoilers here, really. You'll have a good time. What are you working on right now?
Sorry, this is something we came up with a while ago. An archetype for Card Heroes that we, I think, gave to a character named...
Oh man, that's a throwback.
Yeah. So it's unclear as to whether we'll use this art, but I saw it on my sketchbook and I was like, I'm doing it anyway. So this is from the Hellfire archetype that we had been brainstorming. That's my favorite part about working on Card Hero, is making custom cards.
Very much the coolest aspect, I think, is when I worked on Card Heroes originally back in the day, like OG Card Heroes, there wasn't a lot of archetypes in the game. That was like during, I want to say, season 3 of GX. So like it was still very much like either you played heroes or you didn't play an archetype.
Yeah.
But now we're at this time where like there are so many opportunities for live action Yu-Gi-Oh shows to have characters with their own individual archetypes that kind of match their identity. And that's really neat. Like I would like to experiment with that, but I think that more importantly is I like the feeling of not knowing what a card does. So having made up cards kind of keeps that mystery alive.
It definitely adds a little something that I think is pretty cool. Keeps it fresh. The eventual hope is that we can make some of these cards playable for fans. Just don't expect to win a YCS.
Yeah.
With your Hellfire archetype.
Yet.
Until
Konami
gives us the okay.
Yeah, until Konami says, you guys want a job? And then they rebrand it to the HE double hockey sticks fire archetype.
The Heckfire archetype. They call it the frickin' flame archetype.
Frickin' flames! Oh my god.
Flame higher.
Oh
no. I'm having
God, not the problem solving card text.
Oh my god.
That's so hilarious. I don't know if you want to spill the tea on that, because like not everyone
I can't not
knows
talk about it once I brought it
Please do it. Please. So okay. Let me slide in real quick just to let more casual fans know that problem solving card text is a term used to explain card mechanics. Old Yu-Gi-Oh used to speak like in really weird terms. So Konami like changed things to be problem-solving card text so that whenever a confusing ruling came up, there was almost like a uniform language for the card game so that people would understand, does this target, does this not target? You know, does this affect the player or so on? Well, you'll hear us say that in reference to this only so that you understand the content. And then I'll let Dylan take it away from you.
Every Yu-Gi-Oh card is basically a riddle that you have to decipher. It's like, what does this wall of text do? And that can become a problem when you translate the game from Japanese into English.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, sometimes I just feel like they don't care. But there was one archetype, and this was I think this was right after we got out of college, I think.
Yeah, because it was the Sky Striker set, I think.
Yeah. So it was the Sky Striker set, because I remember two of my friends, or three of us, split up a couple of boxes. One of us took the Sky Strikers. One of us took the archetype we're about to discuss, which is the Sky Fang Brigade.
Yes, I forgot about their old name.
And then the ones I took were the vampires.
Yeah.
Just because we got a bunch of vampire cards, I was like, I'll take those. Like, those are pretty cool. And they have awesome artwork. Check out the vampire. That's probably the best artwork in the set.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the best archetypes in the game for artwork.
No, they are really good.
But that's not what we're here to talk about. The original name of the archetype is the Sky Fang Brigade. And it's a bunch of animal people.
You just say furries, friend.
Personas like... and they're cool. They look cool. They look awesome.
Yeah, they're sick.
And I was like, first off, that's a sick name. Sky Fang Brigade? Awesome. That's an awesome name. So I was looking forward to those. And then they changed the name in the TCG to Fur Hire, spelled F-U-R. Fur Hire. And so I can't, like, I have to wrap my head around this every time. The decision to make this. So normally, if a card says, we'll use a different, like a vampire, like search for a vampire card, and that'll include any card with the name, with vampire in its name. And so it'll say, search for a vampire monster card. But the way they changed the for hire text was they would phrase it as search for a card that is for hire. And
just for a pun, bro. Just for a play on words.
I was like, you're about to you're gonna throw out the rules of the game for a pun, which I guess I do. I respect it.
Like, what other card game? I can't think of another card game that has the goal to do that. To be like, how we created a whole like library of text just to make sure that we never confuse anyone again. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
They just like threw it all out the window, which is crazy to me. Like, and it's also like, I just felt bad, like, because it went from having such a cool name, the Sky Fang Brigade, which is so cool. I was really excited for it, and then it's like, go get your fur hire monsters, and I was like, that's crazy. That's a
No,
crazy
Dylan,
shift.
Dylan, go get your monsters.
Go get your
hire.
monsters that are for hire. It's
That
like,
are
oh.
for hire, yeah.
Oh god.
Also, like the Sky Fang Brigade was the first, like, it kind of almost changed the context of what the cards were, because like the Sky Fang Brigade were sky pirates, you know.
Yes.
Like a buddy of ours specifically wanted a pirate archetype because he loves pirates. And at that time, we didn't have Plunder Patrol. So there was no pirate archetype. Yeah, there was no pirates. So Skyfang was like, Sky Pirates, cool. And once they got rebranded to For Hire, it almost changed the context of them to be like mercenaries.
Well, yeah, because it's like, you can't hire pirates. That kind of defeats the purpose, I think.
Yeah.
Of them being pirates. So change the whole thing. It's like, oh, cool. You just change the lore. You change the card text.
Script their identity
For like
almost.
the shittiest pun ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool.
You know, it made someone happy, I'm sure, but it wasn't me.
Yeah, like I do like puns. Like, sure, yes, but like if that one didn't like rub me the wrong way. I think there was also like a problem in that set with the main Sky Striker. What's her name? Ray? Is it Ray, or is that the other one?
No, it's Ray.
Well, like,
because the other one is Rose, I think.
So this is how complicated card effects get. Is there was some discussion as to whether the English copy, because it's her to use her effect, you have to pay a cost to activate it, and then in the in the English version, they changed like a semicolon into an actual colon, and so it changed. People were discussing as to whether it would still be a cost or not.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, I think they just kind of ended up ignoring it. Like, so it is still a cost, like, because Sky Strikers still went on to dominate, like, and still are very good.
They're strong as heck. They've got a lot of their support back. They've got more support. They have a kaiju in archetype.
I feel like, especially with Yu-Gi-Oh, there's so much, like, I've only recently started getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh, like, within the last, like, few months or so. I kind of cycle between different games.
I think that's healthy.
Because my game of choice recently has been Warhammer.
That's unhealthy.
Yes.
Like,
absolutely.
Just your time, your finances, your back.
That's, yeah. Oh my god, I did a tournament and I was so sore afterwards. I was like, I'm just gonna go home.
That's crazy.
I was like, I'm sore from playing a game. I was like standing all day, like hunched over the table, moving plastic around. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm too old for
That's
this.
wild. I had to make that realization a few days ago. I was playing Digimon at a friend's house. We had a little party, and so we were just hanging out with them for the weekend. So we were playing Digimon, and there wasn't enough room for everyone. So we were like, let's just play on the floor. By like 30 minutes, I was like, oh, I'm not as young as I used to be. My back is hurting.
It's hell getting old.
It's crazy. Like Sly is like I think he's like 20 in the show. To be that young.
But but you're not. Like,
I am not. A couple months ago, I had started a new part-time. And so when I had gotten hired there, some of the people were yapping. And I was like, yeah, man, it's rough getting old, you know. I turned X last month, and you will not find out my age. I turned X last month. They were like, what? You're not 22? And I was like, you are too nice. You are the nicest person in the world. You make this old woman blush.
Somebody actually, that was at the Warhammer tournament. They were driving back. They were like, oh, you're 30? And I was like, shh, lower your voice.
Yeah, keep it down.
It was like, you don't look it. I was like, well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. It's good to hear that I don't look it because I feel it.
I don't think that anyone... I made this observation with a friend. A friend of mine noticed that a lot of our like younger acquaintances that we had worked with at like a little ramen shop a while back, that they were like younger than us, but they look a lot more haggard. And I was like, I don't know if there's any correlation.
Times are tough.
Yeah, I was like, times are tough. I also think that like I was the generation right before, or like right the brink of vaping was like right as soon as like I was the target demo, but I never got into it. But I think that a lot of younger people started vaping after it became popular at a younger age. I was in college when vaping kind of kicked off.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any correlation. So this could just be like me making stuff up. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. But I think that a lot of younger people starting to vape or whatever at a younger age, right? Like at like 15 or less. Like, yeah. Probably has some long-lasting effects.
Probably.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Or is it vapor?
But yeah, no, I've heard that before.
TCG
Speaking of which, we are supposed to be getting a ban list. Like
I'm waiting for 2
Oh wait, yeah, for Digimon, right?
for Digimon. Yeah. The Digimon one comes out tomorrow, as of the time of recording, and the Yu-Gi-Oh one comes out
Whenever they feel like it.
eventually.
What are your predictions for
For Yu-Gi-Oh?
or for either? I mean,
I just got back into Digimon, so I don't really have like the meta knowledge to make an opinion. They have the choice restrictions. Do you know what that is? Is that in Magic?
I don't know what that is. No.
A choice restriction is when they see that there is a combo of cards that is really good together. And so they say, tell you what, we're not going to ban either of them outright, but you're only allowed to play either this card or that card.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's kind of sweet.
Yeah. So they're like, hey. Yeah, That and Card Fight Vanguard do that.
That's a smart way to do it.
I love choice restrictions because it's like Digimon's almost like Magic, where it's like a color system. So you don't want to ban something that's like a color that's really good for a specific deck and then broken unintentionally for another deck, because then you're hurting a fun deck for the sins of like a busted combo.
Man, every single one of my decks in Magic or in Yu-Gi-Oh at some point has caught a stray.
Oh yeah, well that's because you play baller cards.
Right. I mean,
you only play hype.
I make some pretty hype plays every once in a while. Kind of
I think that okay, so modern Yu-Gi-Oh I think hit Appaloosa is a problem.
Yeah.
Appaloosa, Goddess of the Bow, who is
I got
like
a couple
3 to 4 monster Omni negate. Or not Omni negate, 3 to 4 monster negate.
Yeah. She's a difficult card to play around.
Yeah, I don't
necessarily. Not if you're ready. Like I feel like if you can't like know a card that like suits your deck, that can get rid of her. Like she, like certain decks can deal with her really easily, but like I don't think it's common.
I think that people want to hit Dimension Shifter, which is a banish every card that goes to your graveyard and your opponent's graveyard hand trap. But I don't think it needs to get banned. I think put it to 2 so that it's not as regularly seen, because it does auto win against certain matchups. But equally, like, so does Drawlin Lockbird. You know what I mean? Blanket effects like that are a problem. But I don't think they need to be banned.
Well, here's the thing. Like, it's good again. Like it's like, oh, you're facing this one deck. You play D-Shifter and it's over. You won. But without D-Shifter, there might be no way for your deck to beat that other deck.
Right. Also, D-Shifter is dead in matches where they're also playing D-Shifter.
True. Like
there's so many decks right now that just main 3 D-Shifter, and if you're playing like Kashtira, which is the D-Shifter deck, and your opponent is playing Tempai, which is the D-Shifter deck, and you wasted your D-Shifter, like that's one card in your hand less that you have access to.
Yeah. Like, like I just feel like there's so much counterplay. I mean, I guess that's the issue, is there's not a ton you can do to stop a D-Shifter from
right, because
that's I think,
especially if you're going second against a D-Shifter, like you can't hold by it, you can't cross out designator it. You need those cards to be played on the field, and you can't do that even though they're quick plays on turn 1 if you're going second.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can't do either of those on turn if you go second.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, I was in a tournament and I had a cross out and I realized, so it's really problematic.
Yeah, it's mostly, honestly, the only real problem with it is how difficult it is to interact with. Other than that, I think the effect is fine. Like,
I agree. I think that it's just how common it is to see it. Like, I played a game. I played Voiceless Voice at the time, and we don't need our graveyard to win, but there are some things that we do need to have like set up for before we can cook. Like, if you have the right hand, I've had a good hand where I've like, my opponent had Thunder Dragon Colossus, which made it to where you couldn't add cards from your deck to your hand. and dropped a D shifter and had like another thing on board that was pretty heavy. And I still playing Voiceless Voice, thanks to the new continuous spell that basically lets you get something back from Banish. I OTK'd them. I beat them in one turn. I played Imperm, turned off the Colossus, and then did voice things and then just beat them in one turn. And that was under Shifter.
Yeah.
I don't think that Shifter is the problem. I think the problem is how often people see Shifter in a best 2 out of 3. Because game 2, he dropped Shifter again, and I couldn't do anything that time. And then game 3, he dropped Shifter again, and I was able to play out of it.
Ooh.
But like the fact that like in 3 games he saw Shifter 3 times is a little on turn 1 is like a little crazy.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I fought Tenpai and they dropped Shifter on me.
Yeah, honestly, like hitting Shifter might be the way to hit Tenpai too. Like, because I do feel like them being able to main it definitely like boosts up the power of Tenpai. But I mean, that's kind of the problem with Tenpai at all, is that the engine is so small. You know, they get to run so much stuff for free.
Well, and that's kind of cool though, because like no one has ever been rewarded for. No one's ever been rewarded for going second.
Like, but it is a problem, or it does make it difficult to balance them against other decks.
I think that if you play against Tenpai, and this is coming from someone who's lost to Tenpai, right? Like, if you play against Tenpai going into game 2 and 3, it's horrifying because you don't know if they're going to be like, if you win game 1 or even if you lose, like you don't know if it's better to go first or second against them sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you go first and you're like, let me just set up my board. And then they like Dark Hole, Regeki, Duster, and then
break your stuff.
Yeah. Or you go second and it's like, okay, well, they can still set up a pretty decent turn 1 board. Nothing crazy to the same degree, but like they can smoke screen in going first card. And then now you've got to deal with Solemn Judgment, Shifter, Strike, hand trap. Like they're just so good at squeezing everything in.
Yeah.
I don't think the Tenpai is the problem though. I really
no, I mean obviously Snake Eyes is the current problem that needs to be dealt with.
Even then, I don't think that they're as bad as they used to
be. Yeah. I think the data shows otherwise, but I only loosely follow it anyway. Like
that's
so.
fair.
I might not know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's fair. Bean Smith is a new kid on the block, and he splashes into everything because he's generic.
Yeah.
And this video is coming out after. This will mean more to Yu-Gi-Oh players than it will to anything else. Jesse Cotton, who's like the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh player in the world right now, I think he's like, as far as United States representation, he's won 6 YCSs, I believe. So although he's not like a name like Team Sam that like casuals know, like Jesse Cotton is like one of the best players. And he won in a Fiendsmith format, which everyone was saying was mostly like luck based, like 0 skill based. But I don't think that that's true. I think that there is a lot of skill. It's just that people win a lot in time because the Fiendsmith cards are basically free. You can use them all to make an Omni negate, and while doing that play, they burn. Like you don't have to go out of your way to burn. Like they just burn naturally. And so in a format where there's a lot of like 15-minute turns, it just kind of sucks because you can kind of stall your opponent out. And then in game 3, if you've won 1 and they've won 1, you just be like, all right, cool. Now I'm going to burn you in 1 turn. And that can be splashed in every engine, including Snake Eyes. I'm mixing it with Infernoids because I'm disgusting. There's just a lot of things you can mix with Beansmith. And Snake Eyes kind of got leveled out whenever there was 2 Omni negates back in the day that Snake Eyes played, which was Borreload Savage Dragon and Baron de Fleur. Both of them were Omni negate. Both of them could negate any card. And they banned them to kind of give Voiceless Voice an identity because they have an Omni negate as well. So now it's like, okay, cool, Voiceless Voice is the deck that Omni negate. But then they gave an Omni negate to Fiendsmith, which can be played in every deck. So it's like, wait, no, you've just done this again. And I think that's the problem, is you give an engine that can fit in everything with no restrictions, that can burn for time, that can be an Omni negate, that can distract an opponent's resources from the the actual deck.
Ooh.
Like, if I played Fiendsmith Voiceless Voice, you would probably try and stop all of my Fiendsmith plays before you even realized I was playing a Voiceless Voice deck. And then I'd be like, cool, you've already used your Ash, you've already used your Imperm, you've already used your whatever else. I'm going to start playing Voiceless Voice now. It's just really weird. Like, Snake Eyes was the problem, but they are no longer as big an issue as they used to be. They still are, because you mix them with Fiendsmith, they're a problem. Now you've got 2 good decks. But Fiendsmith is, in my opinion, the problem.
Yeah.
Mostly because they have a hefty price. If the boss, not even the boss, if the starter for that deck was not a necessary 2 to 3 of and was not $100, this would be a different one.
Yeah.
In my, let me know in the comments what you guys think, though. I'm curious. Sorry, I'm really passionate about this format.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think that Tenpai is not the problem. I don't think Tenpai is the problem. I don't necessarily think Snake Eye is the problem. I think they were just reaching an accelerated power creep. And that's fine. Power creep is fine as long as it's like checks and balances. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
give us stun, and stun will and we do. We have some really good stun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. What do you want to come off the ban list?
Hold on. Electromite.
Oh, okay, fair.
Pendulums have a really bad rep right now. Yeah, Electromite. Because I think that the hardest thing for Pendulum players right now is the fact that if you play against, and maybe this is a personal problem, but Kashtira is a really popular deck. And if they go their boss monster in Kashtira, Shangri-La, which anytime a card gets banished face down by a card effect, you can zone lock. So, like, you can pick a zone your opponent controls, and neither player can put cards in that zone while Shangri-La is on the field.
Oh. That's pretty
Shangri-La's got 3,000 defense points. And if any Kashtira card, I believe, would be removed from the field, you can detach material to keep them alive.
Oh. That's interesting.
And also, it's so good. And their field spell, if Shangri-La zone lock something, you also get to pop a card on the field.
Neat.
So, all that is not the problem. The problem is that they can start by zone locking one of the pendulum scales first.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Pendulum has a really hard time there.
Yeah. So they're already in an uphill battle. And yeah, you can be like, well, just Imperm. Just Kaiju. Yes. But also, like, I feel like Pendulum is one of the strongest mechanics in the game and also hasn't gotten support in quite some time. And I feel like just give him Electromite back.
That seems fair. Like, yeah, there aren't really any, like, top, doing numbers Pendulum decks right now, right?
No. I mean, technically Melodious, which is just Voiceless Voice too.
Oh, yeah, they have Pendulums. I don't really think they do that much with them. Like,
they can cook for sure. Like,
they
can cook, and
it's good.
And they've topped a lot. But
really?
yeah, they did. Because they have some crazy support. They basically set up an Omni Negate, and then you just do Voiceless Voice plays.
Ooh.
But that's the only Pendulum deck I really can think of that's cooking right now, and I could be wrong. Like, I'm sure I'm forgetting. But I love Valen, which is a Pendulum deck that basically puts cards in each of the Pendulum zones, and then through their own effect, moves them forward onto the zone, and when they are special summoned, gets an effect, and then when they move left or right, like an MMO, or like a JRPG, like a tactical RPG, then you get extra effect. And so it's really cool, but anytime I sit down against a Kashtira player, they just go zone lock, and I go, oh, okay.
Yeah, which, I mean, to some degree is fine. It's fine for counter to exist, but, like, I could...
Right.
But it's not like Pendulums are doing that well, regardless. I feel like the fact that there's spell cards is kind of like, and there's so much spell and trap card removal that it probably just makes them hard to play right now anyway. Like,
it's tough. I mean, when you start, if you can get your Pendulum board snowballing, you will book.
Yeah.
So hard. So it's just like aggressive. But it's just reaching that point a little tricky.
Makes sense. Well, you know what I want right now. Is sold. I want her. I want my baby back. I don't need her back, but I'd like it.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a hero player. All right, brother.
Well,
if anyone's here for you as a second vote, it's
in
me.
my opinion, she should have never been generic. Because the only deck that ever really needed her was Noble Knights. And they just made her better for every other warrior deck that was already better than
Yeah.
whites.
I think that would solve a lot of problems for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just make the material like two of the same archetype on.
Please stop making stuff that's that powerful. It's so generic. Like,
Yeah.
like
and,
I
and
love
yes, of
generic
course,
support. Like, obviously, we need generic support. Like,
Yeah.
but Borreload Savage Dragon, or right? Yeah, Borreload
Yeah, you got it right.
Savage Dragon did not need to be a generic level 8 synchro. Like, that's crazy. That needed to be. That needed a rocket tuner or a rocket material. What, it didn't
Honestly,
need both.
I say both. Yeah. I believe we're at the time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where both is required.
Yeah. I mean, I like when stuff is splashable. Like, I think it makes for fun and awesome deck building. Like,
yeah, but like those should be like SP Little Knight and like IP Masquerena. They don't belong to an archetype, so therefore them being splashable feels right.
yeah. Like, freaking Calamities.
Yeah.
You need True Kings to make that, all right? And I can't say that still wouldn't be a problem because True Kings are good. Maybe not as good as they used to be, but they're still pretty damn good. Like,
I think that like there's a fine line between like limiting a deck's power based off of locking it into specific requirements and also making it balanced and fair so that the justification for playing the rest of that archetype feels earned. Like Mathmech Final Sigma is a monster that when it's in the extra monster zone is unaffected by your opponent's card effects, and also any damage it inflicts is doubled to your opponent. So people will just splash Final Sigma in a lot of decks that don't need him. I feel like that's fine.
yeah.
Because those aren't like crazy broken. Like they're good, but they're not broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like an Omni Negate, again, like Voice has an Omni Negate. Cyber Dragons have an Omni Negate that like should not be generic, but there will always be ways to find Cyber Dragon. I was playing Cyber Dragon Infinity in Voice because of Soul Shave Force, which is pay half your life points, special summon a Raid Raptor that was destroyed, then summon a monster 2 ranks higher. So I would just go like, oh cool, searcher that on screen right now whose name escapes me, kill him and then go Cyber Dragon Infinity. Like, there will always be shortcuts to getting, like, an Omni Negate or whatever. That's just the way of the game.
And I get that they'll always be, like, unintentionally made better by, like, new cards. Like, you're always going to find, like, old synchro. Like, Baron DeFleur didn't see a lot. Like, that's a pretty old card, isn't it? Like,
you're thinking of,
or no, there's two DeFleurs, right? Isn't there, like, Cavalier DeFleur?
Yeah, it's Cavalier DeFleur.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of then.
It's just Void Ogre Dragon.
Yeah, but it's not even generic. It needs Fleur Synchron.
Which, like, is pseudo-true because Quick Draw exists.
What does Quick Draw do?
Quick Draw treats himself as any Synchron monster.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So, and Quick Draw's a level 5, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you just summon Quick Draw, and then you use a level 3 non-tuner. But even then, like, doesn't matter.
That's still something you gotta work towards. Like, you still gotta, like...
Yeah, you gotta discard a card, summon a body.
Like...
Yeah, and also, like, it only negates on your opponent's turn. Drop a Mirror Force, you're fine.
Oh.
But then Baron is like, pop a card, Omni Negate. If this card leaves the field, you can return this card to the extra deck or something. I forget the last. It's got a secret effect, actually. It's just really good.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's not even one wind tuner, but just one tuner.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways I think to fix that.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Like, but then it wouldn't have been $100 card when it first came out. So there's checks and balances. Like you have to think like as far as like Konami's
it's your wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Checks, as in you're writing checks to them.
Right. Checks and balances, as in you can either afford it or you can't. Or Yu-Gi-Oh's in a pretty good spot. Like if you want to run something, you can. Like you absolutely can.
My happy place with Yu-Gi-Oh is everywhere before you get to table like 85 and beyond. I know that sounds really weird, but like if you go to an event and you see people playing like interesting decks that are not common, they're gonna get bubbled out. But like a lot of decks nowadays can keep up with a lot of decks. When like if you don't count, like if you're not talking about the top 4 decks, Fiendsmith, Snake Eyes, Kashtira, and Tenpai. Like, I'm just
Oh yeah,
saying,
they have this.
Madolche,
I know the
terrifying.
puppet is a
Gimmick Puppet, terrifying.
bit of a problem child.
Yeah, absolutely. Branded, terrifying. Drytron, terrifying. Infernity, terrifying. Heroes, Nibiru. But like, if you don't have it,
Honestly,
terrifying.
Nibiru is basically the answer to like the majority of the decks. I think the meta seems to be dictated by who can play around Nibiru the best.
Yeah, and that's why people play the Fiendsmith engine. Because one, either they get an Omni Negate to stop the Nibiru from coming out, or two, you Nibiru'd when I was doing my Fiendsmith stuff, which wasn't even my actual plan to begin with.
Yeah.
It's just the side shit, you know? It was like the extra stuff.
It's kind of interesting that Nibiru is such a big check to the game. Like to have that have all that power on one card.
I think that it's needed.
It's definitely needed because
it's so needed. And
the game is just not meant or is currently not balanced around not having Nibiru. Like it's currently, I feel like, very balanced around Nibiru because there was so many archetypes that without Nibiru, they will make a board that just can't like be stopped. And so
equally, Nibiru is not good. Like in a lot of, if you draw Nibiru and you're like, I need an out, you can't do anything with it going second, really. Like,
no, and I agree. That's part of having, that's part of there being a downside to certain cards. Like,
yeah,
I think it is important for there to be such a powerful card to stop like 90% of decks from blowing up. But also, it's a dead draw.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. And I think
I love it.
I think it's part of the reason why we have a pretty decent format right now. Like,
I just think that I believe in like hand traps. I think anyone who's like hand traps are not a good like thing for the game is strongly incorrect.
I am like I'm kind of on the fence about it. Like I'm not fully against hand traps. However, I don't like the fact that they're so necessary. But that's not hand traps' fault. Hand traps are a cure to a disease.
Like I played Infernity back in the day. If you had
like
no
I
way
couldn't
to
do anything to stop that. Yeah. Like it was just
like I would just go on for 20 minutes doing everything.
And then I would go to my turn, and you would negate everything, and then you would win. Like
it was gross. I love Infernities because for a lot of reasons, and not just because they're good. Like I love the character who uses them. I love their aesthetic. All three of their aesthetics. The demons, the Old West. You know how I feel about guns and dragons and cowboy hats. All together in the same archetype. All good. And even their knight motif, which I think is the weakest one, is still pretty cool. I just think that I don't know. I think that we need hand traps and board breakers because like I am a firm believer you don't need to do hand traps, but you can do one or the other.
Yeah.
I do think that like those are all necessary tools. I won't even say necessary evils. They're necessary tools to keep the game fair and balanced.
I think they're necessary tools to keep the actual evils in check.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like it's just like I don't know. It's just kind of unfortunate that there's such like a limiter on deck building because there's like it's always unfortunate to me when there's like cards that you just have to have, which is always like annoying. But at the same time, you can't ban the hand traps because they're keeping you from the ban list being 20 pages long.
Which is also why I don't have a problem with Shifter in the way that a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
Shifter auto wins against a lot of decks, but equally, I think that it's not that Shifter is the problem. I think the prevalence of how consistently people see Shifter is the problem.
Yeah. And like I said, the problem is also that they made graveyard decks just too strong off rip.
Yeah.
So like we need Shifter.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a necessary evil.
This is coming from a guy who plays Dark Law and everything he can. So like, am I biased a little bit?
Maybe. I'm saying it as an Ogdoadic player. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
I do not want to see that card ever. If I see D-Shifter, scoop, because there's like two things I could do when they're not good.
Yeah.
At that point. Like, it's like, okay, cool, normal summon, pass. Like, or I hope you can beat over my 0 attack point monster. Like, it's not a good card to see against certain decks. But I won't argue with the fact that we need it.
I think there's a fine line too, though, because like floodgates, in my opinion, are not the problem, but the consistency of how you see them is. Like, I was in a duel where I was going against Runic Stun, which is basically just spell cards the deck. I have a pretty okay matchup because a lot of their stuff targets, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm doing all right here. But equally, I was playing a 60 card. But a buddy of mine, prior to the tournament, he saw my side deck. He saw that I was running one copy of Anti-Spell Fragrance, which is kind of an auto win against Runic. And I was like, yeah, you run it. He's like, why would you run it? It's terrible. You have one chance of seeing it in the 60 card deck. Like, you should not run a one of. And I was like, it's a one of on the list for a reason, because it's so strong that if you see it, you're going to like win in a lot of these matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The logic is two ways. It's either A, you don't run it because you don't see it consistently enough, or B, you run it specifically because if you do see it, you're going to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a firm believer that both can be true at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, I had an interesting thing I wanted to discuss with you.
What's up?
So I was just like watching videos on, and like this, people put so much emphasis, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh, on the first turn. That's also something, that plays into Tenpai.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big deal choosing whether to go first or not.
Right.
And I was kind of thinking, I was like, I really do feel like with this emphasis on turn 1 and turn 2, I honestly feel like they should adopt the Warhammer method.
What's that?
In Warhammer, you roll off to see who goes first, and the person who wins the roll off must go first.
That's how Digimon is. That's exactly how Digimon is.
Like, because I do feel like some decks abuse the choice.
Yeah.
Like Tenpai, And I think if you take away Tenpai's consistent ability to go second, because like very likely your opponent, if they won the roll off or what, the coin flip or whatever, they're gonna very likely choose to go first, which if you're running Tenpai puts you in a good spot. However, if you win it, you also get the option to then say, I want to go second, So I feel like taking away that option might actually like increase people's like deck building awareness. Like,
I find that very
like, I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, that feels like it might solve not every problem, but at least a couple problems.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh's problems are far too numerous to solve with one fix, but I think they're getting better at it. I don't know. I think
they are.
That would be a pretty. I'd be very interested to see what that does for how competitive players react.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would change the dynamic of deck building. I think to a more like a lot of people will build their deck to be able to go first and second.
That's kind of part of it too. It's like you win the coin toss and you're playing Tenpai and you're like, you take the first, you take turn 1 on the first game, and then I'll OTK you on turn 2 and win that game, and then you side in for game, you go into game 2. Could you not just scoop and then go on to game 3?
Yeah, very easily.
Yeah,
like
so
I almost did that.
I don't know how often that
I've done that in tournaments, especially when like in a competitive setting. Yu-Gi-Oh is very much like, okay, you have to account for one other mana system in Yu-Gi-Oh, which I know you can say this for every card game, but like Yu-Gi-Oh's mana system is time. How long is the combo going to take? How long do I have left? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I've been in a situation where we were both playing like 3 different engines at once, because I was playing Kashtira Voices Voice with Branded and Dogmatica engine, and he was playing Adventure Thunder Patrol, and both of us knew nothing of the other's deck. So it was just a lot of us stopping, picking up the cards, reading, thinking, and being like, okay, stop, read, do the play. Opponent activates something in response. Stop, dude, read the play. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so by the end of game 1, there was 10 minutes left in round. And I had won that. He won the coin toss to go first, but I won game 1. And then game 2, I was like, do I just scoop and then go into game 3, having given him game 2, but then leaving me 8 minutes to go first, set up and pass? Or do I play it out and hope that I can OTK him on game 2 or put him at enough damage to where he loses, and then I don't have to go into game 3 and risk opening up bad? And what I ultimately decided was incorrect. So I won game 1. I cited game 2. Game 2, I said, let me play it out and see how far we can get. I already won game 1. There's no way that he can win by dropping my life points. There's no effect in his deck that drops my life. I forgot that Ancient Fairy Dragon exists. So I let him do 8 minutes of plays, and then he gained 1,000 life points, and then we had to go into game 3. And the way that this was done in this tournament, because it was for a giant card, so tournament rules were slightly different. When you go into time in that way in game 3, you don't get to side, and you only play the first 4 turns of game 3 immediately. So I had my side deck for going second, and then I was like, crap, what do I do here? And so ultimately I drew a terrible hand anyway. It was all hand traps, no engine. But that could have been, yeah, it's super unfortunate. But that could have been me just being like, all right, you got game 2, let's go to game 3. Let me side out so I can go first and put in 3 solemn judgments. Let me put in this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? So Yu-Gi-Oh's real mana system is time. Life points don't matter until they do in the last minute.
Yeah.
Which is why people don't like the Fiendsmith card. Because again, the problem with that is that they will keep playing like looping combos until ultimately there's nothing to do. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing left to do.
That's very annoying. I keep hearing people kind of bitch about the time system. I wasn't really aware of how bad it is. But yeah, I mean, because like I said, you know, the meta is good for a lot of decks, and there's so many decks that exist that'll just, if you don't know what they're doing, they will curb stomp you for no reason.
Yeah.
Like Kawaki Marus.
And it's just tough. Yeah, Kawaki Marus are a prime example. Like Madolches. If you don't stop Madolches, you can have a Dragoon out on the board, and if you hit the wrong thing, that Dragoon is going away.
Yeah.
Simple.
Like there's definitely like plenty of decks that just, like I said, and that's why Nibiru is so good. It's because like Nibiru is like literally the only card keeping those decks in check, keeping them from doing whatever they want to do. I feel like if you want a good deck, you got to figure out how to deal with Nibiru first, and then everything else second. But yeah, definitely like the time rules are kind of whack.
Yeah, and again, my opponent and me weren't fighting for time, but it just happened. Like when you both don't know each other's deck, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like just naturally, that will happen. I have no malice towards that player. I am upset with myself because in my mind, I should have scooped it up, acknowledged the board, and been like, all right, I see the system that we're in, like the situation that we're in. I need to do the responsible play for my position. I've got game 1 on lock. I just need to side out to going second and then side in all of my going first cards. Or sorry, for game 2, just surrender because I opened up and my opponent was able to play. After I saw all of my hand was not any of my stuff to deal with it. Like no Nibiru's, nothing like that.
Yeah.
What I should have done then immediately is been like, all right, there's even a chance at all of him having a board. I should oop, and I should go straight to game 3 and side in all of my stun cards. Stop him from playing.
Yeah.
Is that toxic? I think that's just part of the game, right? Like,
well, I think if they don't want that to happen, I think you institute what I said. You have to go, you have to go first when you get it, and then institute maybe something else for round changes. Like,
yeah,
I just think if you're going to make it such a big part of the game, some more restrictions on it might be the way to go. Might be. I could be totally wrong. That could just like not work at all for the way Yu-Gi-Oh is. Like, but I think it'd be interesting if they tried it out.
This has been an interesting discussion. I think we can probably call this episode here.
Yeah,
I feel pretty
wouldn't
good
want to
about
ramble.
it.
Wouldn't want to bore everybody another hour or so.
Another hour or so. We'll pick it up though. If you guys like this discussion, I hope to continue this with us. And with y'all, like, just tune in if you have any questions or if you have any opinions. Just let me know. We're excited to chat with you guys about it.
I guess some announcements to make.
Yeah.
We're for anybody who's still listening and cares. For all those Card Hero fans out there, Card Heroes Crimson is approaching its release date, which we've currently set. We're targeting a first week of September launch date.
We're trying, so
get excited.
Don't bully me.
We're doing that. I hope you've enjoyed Draw Phase. We are enjoying making it. Before I let you go, I like to listen to music when I work, and I was wondering, drop it down in the comments below. What's a song that's got your attention right now? What's got its teeth in you and won't let go? What's on repeat? Currently, I've discovered an artist named Tommy Richmond. If you're on TikTok, you recognize the song $1 Million Baby. I've also been chowing down on song Ghouls and Ghosts and Devil is a Lie. All three, in my opinion, is bangers. Leave what's got your attention in the comments because I'd like to find out. No genres off limits.
Oh, yeah.
Need a steady stream of it. So drop it in the comments. And also, for this week, leave your favorite deck down there.
Leave.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Commander, Modern, Standard, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Legacy. Let me know. But that's going to do it for us this episode, I think.
That's it for now, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And remember,
see you next week.
Until next time. Yes, see you next week. It's your move. Later, y'all.